All right. How's everybody doing? How you doing? Today we're gonna have a special guest, Eduardo. I'll give you guys, whoever listens to this, his address and all information. I'll dox the shit out of him.
Thanks, man.
So it's been a while since I just uploaded an episode today. That was like 3 weeks old because I got kind of sick. I had like a gastritis attack. Had like crazy stomach pain and back pain and shit. The doctor lady said it might be an ulcer. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on, man. But we're doing this. Sans Kevin, he's not gonna be with us today. He's busy doing. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. It doesn't matter. But I got Ed here. He's gonna fill in for the day, and I think we're just gonna I guess talk about. Did you watch the second debates?
I did not. No, I've been working all week, so I haven't really caught up. I've just been watching the Trump fuckery going on.
The Trump fuckery?
Yeah. On the news.
On the news, yeah, everyone's losing their shit. He's losing his shit. He's Jesus Christ or some shit. That shit was funny as fuck, dude. Like, I can't remember what the guy's name is. He got it from, because he quoted a dude.
Yeah.
That's on like right wing, like crazy radio. The guy's a nut job. He's the one that was like peddling the, Hillary Clinton eats babies and all kinds of shit like that. Which I wouldn't be surprised if she does that or not. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be like if it tomorrow it comes out and it's like Hillary Clinton has been eating babies, I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that. But it's not in the norm, I guess. But he's that type of dude, and he had said how, the people in Israel are like, no, man, fucking Trump, man. He's the second coming. And it's like, wait, they're Jews, right? They don't believe in that shit,
Well, I think the Jews believe the Messiah hasn't come yet. Like, they're still waiting for one, apparently. As far as I understand, that's
but their definition of Messiah and ours is different because theirs is just like some really cool dude that's awesome and it's gonna like help them. It's not like the son of God or whatever. Yeah, it's just like David or some shit coming back. You know what I mean? Which is funny. But yeah, like he straight up converted them all into Catholics apparently. But yeah, dude, like he I think he made like a really funny comment also on the car situation, that he was gonna like make cars cheaper on Twitter. That
is that when he gave the order to the companies to bring back all the
to change some sort of like the efficiency standards, and it was supposed to make it $3,000 cheaper. But the funny thing about that tweet was that he goes, the PC car manufacturing companies, like the politically correct car. Because the politically correct car companies don't want to do this thing. It's going to save people $3,000, and it's like, what's politically correct about like Honda or you know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a very odd thing to say.
It's funny shit though, man. I love this, man. I'm fucking full born, like step on the gas pedal. Let's just watch this shit burn. You know what I mean?
Like the Amazon.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Some fucked up shit too. And I think the guy Bolsonaro, I heard, I don't know how true this is, that he like he was like kind of pushing it, like it's fine, like just let it burn. You know what I mean? Like,
it happens all the time.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it just happens every year. Don't worry about it. It's cool. We're just gonna, and I think they're gonna turn it into like farmland or some shit like that.
Wasn't that what they were fighting against? Like the tribes?
The tribes were, yeah. But like Bolsonaro is like, well, he's the dude that was like, if my son was gay, I would shoot him.
Oh shit! Damn.
Yeah, he's a character, that man. Yeah. But yeah, a bunch of shit happened. There's a couple of shootings, which is always exciting, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that whole just the fucking video games, man. It's the video games, obviously. Fucking Super Mario.
Yeah, I don't know about you, dude, but whenever I play fucking Skyrim, I just want to just commit mass murder at the end of the day. Yeah. So fucking stupid, dude. It's the same fucking argument we've heard like our entire lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like since I was a kid in the 90s. It's like, no, it's these fucking violent video games. And it's like, I mean, come on, man. Like, what? Can you just grow a spine? This is my bottom line. It's okay, right? I get it. Second Amendment or whatever the fuck. Just what I want these people to say is, hey, people have to die for this freedom. We have that freedom, and this is the price of it. You know, if they say that to me, I would at least respect them because they're being honest. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, thank the school children for their service.
Yeah,
for dying for our freedoms.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre. The whole thing is fucking weird. I don't get it personally, and I don't think there's like one solution. I don't think if you just ban shit, it's gonna make everything better. It would help.
I see. I mean, I'm not too versed in everything. The Second Amendment is vague. I guess some people say it's clear. Some people say no. Well regulated. They focus on the well regulated part.
Right.
And
because it talks about a well
regulated militia.
Yeah. So, but there's like a comma or something, and they're like that
yeah.
comma, bro.
Yeah, they get so anal about that. Like it's a clause. Like it establishes some bullshit. And they even I saw this one video where this guy talks about the Second Amendment, and then he references the Federalist Papers, where it goes in depth about why they put in the amendment, and then he says, like, here, black and white, clear as crystal, it says that it's for people to fight back against the government.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the founding fathers would have been like, hey, yeah, this gun can kill like 30 people in like a minute.
Yeah, right. And you can get like a bump stock on it, and just would mow people down, like that dude in fucking Vegas. They just, I don't know, wounded hundreds of people.
Still no motive behind that, by the way.
He's just fucking crazy white dude, man. Dude, man, that's the thing. Like, it's crazy white people, man. What the fuck? And and the interesting thing, it's always like, if you ever watch like Fox News, whenever this shit happens, it's always like, oh man, this kid was obviously crazy. You know what I mean? Like he was nuts. Yeah. But if it's a brown person, it's like, this guy, we need to fucking kill these people.
They're deranged.
Yeah.
They thirst for white blood.
Yeah, exactly. It cannot be unquenched.
No, I read the shooter's manifesto.
Which one?
Both the Christchurch shooter and the one that was here. Supposedly it's his manifesto, right?
Yeah, I don't know. They never confirmed it. Yeah, I saw it also. And I was like, firstly, these people have like their writing ability is really awful. And, firstly, and then this kid was like he was talking, and it's like, dude, man, what the fuck? Like, do you notice that everything you're saying does nothing makes any sense, bro? But all right, fine,
He goes on about we have Hispanic invaders, and then later in the same paragraph he talks about if we separate the United States into 4 separate territories with each race, then we could all work together. And I'm like, what?
How can you separate and work together? Yeah, that's goofy shit. Yeah, the Mexican sector will provide all the carnitas and fucking tacos. Yeah, we'll do that, and then the white folks will provide. I don't know what the fuck white people do. What do they do?
They're gonna do the office jobs.
Yeah. They'll be the ones that are always demanding for a manager.
The one part about his manifesto that I just laugh my ass off about is when he goes into debt. He talks about, I'm probably going to die because, I'm probably going to get shot by either the invaders or by the police. So I'm not planning on giving up. I'm going to shoot until I run out of ammo. And he just goes on about how he's going to, die because he doesn't want to, what's it called? He says that if he gets captured, it would be like, I'm going to disgrace my family or some shit like that. And he said he would rather die than do that. But then when it came to the, when he was put on the spot and he actually was doing that shit, he just gave up.
His family.
He just gave up.
Yeah, can you imagine though? Can you imagine if his family was out actually super disappointed because he didn't go out and in a blaze of fire? They interview the dad and he's all like, I thought he was gonna go through with this.
And the weirdest part is, I think it was his mother or his grandma. I can't remember, but apparently they saw him buy the AK a month before the shooting, and they told the police, I don't think my son or my grandson should have this weapon. So the police looked at it, they did the investigation. They're like, well,
take it up with your legislator, man.
Yeah, he's 18 years old, and there's nothing wrong with him. Far, but so he can have it, legally. And then...
Yeah, and a lot of folks, whenever... I know Ben Shapiro has used this as an argument about like Switzerland. They're like everybody has a gun over there.
Yeah.
Everyone has to do service and all kinds of shit, but they're heavily regulated, like to the point where if they have any kind of idea that you might be nuts, like you have to have a psychological evaluation. Like that's part of their laws of having a gun and shit like that.
Okay.
So they have a lot of fucking basically all the shit that the wacky left or liberals, I guess, I don't know, just sane people are asking for. They do that over there. It's just that everyone has guns and they have like that in their culture or whatever.
So like, I think there was a law that was trying to be passed in like one of the Midwestern states where they were trying to force everyone to have a gun. They're like, you have to own one.
That's funny.
And yeah, so a lot of people cried out against it, but I don't know. I mean, people point to Sweden and Switzerland and all that stuff, and they're like, hey, look at these countries doing better than us in all these policies. But then that one policy where everyone should have a gun.
But that's weird because in those countries that's not a policy, right? They're supposed to be in the military and everyone goes through training and shit. But there's no policy in Switzerland that's like, oh, you have to own a gun. You know what I mean?
There isn't?
No, not to. You don't have to own one, but everyone has to go through military service and everyone has to like get trained how to use a gun.
Okay, well then that makes sense. Like, when you come out, you at least know how to use one.
What would that? How would you describe that? It's like. It's like it's a way, it's like tyrannical in that they're forcing you to do something you don't want to do, but they're being tyrannical in you being free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to like brutally enforce your freedom. You have to be free. Take it, damn it, or I'm going to put you in jail. You know what I mean?
Is that tyranny? Should we start shooting now?
Exactly, yeah. It's goofy, dude. Man, that's nuts. I didn't know about that. You just force people to own guns. How would you enforce that? Did people go into your house and check?
I think it was like mandatory that every household like had to have a registered firearm or something like that. And then I think they were. I'm not sure if they were, but there was a background check that would have to be enforced by that, and that stuff.
You know what one like argument that I've always found that it's super funny is that whole. You know, if there's just better, like if there's just more people with guns, like we don't need fewer guns. We need like that whole, like most Republicans are like, no, we need more guns. It's like teachers need to have guns, and like you know, we all need to have guns always, all the time, and this will be stopped, right? And it's like, whoa, in the United States, I think there's more guns than there are people, or some shit like that.
I read a statistic. Apparently, there's like some number of billion guns in the world, and the United States has more than 50% of those. Like, and they're owned by only a couple people in the U.S.
Yeah. It's just Ted Nugent and like, it's just Ted Nugent and I don't know, fucking what's his name? The crazy fucking conspiracy theorist was he was the governor of Minnesota, and he used to be a wrestler. What's his name?
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura. Yeah, it's just those two people.
And the dude from Tremors, Bert.
Yeah, that's right, Bert. Yeah, the guy from Tremors. That's funny.
Man, so when it comes to this, I don't know. The gun laws, gun legislations that people want to pass, like the background checks, I'm all for that. The problem is when people talk about banning, like, because I've been in the military before. I was in the National Guard for like 6 years. I know National Guard, right? Yeah, big whoop, but
whatever.
Yeah, but no, I've handled the M4, which is basically the AR-15, just without the burst, shooting.
Is that the only difference?
Yeah,
it's the same round.
It's the same round, same system.
Except the M4, you could switch it between semi and full
and burst.
Oh, okay.
A burst is when you pull one trigger and 3 come out.
Oh, okay.
So that's illegal because that's a machine gun. And actually, in the U.S., you can own a machine gun as long as it was manufactured before I think 1980 something. And so you can buy a machine gun. It's just that they're limited, so they're going to be expensive.
Crazy expensive.
Yeah. But after that, it was the gun ordinance law or assault weapons ban of 1980 something or some shit like that, or machine gun.
I think it was in the 90s, 94. Did we? Because we banned them.
Mm-hmm.
We banned assault weapons in 94. Yeah. And then we just they reversed it.
Yeah. Oh, it had a 10-year limit.
Okay.
And then we renewed it. So technically that outlaws any the official definition of an assault rifle, based on the U.S. military, is a gun that can switch from semi-auto to any other rate of fire.
Okay.
So if you have a rifle like the AR-15, it has safe and it has semi-auto. It doesn't qualify as an assault rifle.
So it's not an assault rifle.
It's an assault style rifle. That's
what does that mean?
Assault style means
it looks like it.
It looks like it.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And it can hold the 30 round magazines and all that stuff. Like it's an M4. The military never uses burst, so essentially it's used in the same manner as a soldier would use it. It's almost exactly the same.
Okay, that's weird. Well, like that, but you notice all the fetishizing of that, like, because that's all you hear from the other side when it comes to that. When politicians will talk about it, it's like, well, there's this assault rifle or whatever, and it's like, well, technically, you know what I mean, and it's like, cool, I get it. You're right. Yes, it can't do a 3-round burst or whatever. But like, have you seen those videos with the motherfuckers with the bump stocks?
Yeah,
that's fucking insane to me.
Yeah. I remember when the bump stock came out, I saw a video of some girl shooting it on Instagram, and I was like, well, that's not going to last very long. You know? And then the Vegas shit happened, and I was like,
because that was just like. Because like
it happened 6 months after I think it was a very short time frame between when the bump stop came out and that shooting.
Yeah, it's bizarre, right?
The guy just jumped on it.
He was all like, "Oh, this is gonna be super helpful in my plan."
I fucking hate country music. Bad joke. But
it's a great joke. I know what you're talking about. That's what I was gonna go into. Like, can you imagine if that's what it was? He just fucking
hates country music.
Hates country music.
Jesus.
He's had it. Like maybe he had like a brain tumor or something, and like it just activated him, and he just went nuts, and he's just like fucking country music, and he's like banging his head, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking silence it forever.
So he brings all of his guns up to the fucking...
Dude, that was so nuts that just happened. Like, somebody fucked up. Somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah, like he had to have been walking up and down those stairs with cases and cases, and people just looking at this guy like...
He had like thousands of rounds of ammunition and shit.
Yeah,
like he was ready to go down, man, that guy.
How did they kill him? Didn't they had to break in the apartment door or something?
I think so.
Like the hotel door.
I can't remember what the story was on that, to be honest with you.
I just remember that they said he had like some 15 rifles and some other shit. Like he had a fuck ton of guns, fuck ton of ammo.
Yeah, he killed a lot of fucking people, man.
And yet still no motive like behind that. Like, no motive behind that, and there's no motive behind the other left-wing shooter, because apparently this guy was left-wing.
The Dayton guy?
Yeah, the Dayton one.
Yeah.
That guy...
he was a Liz Warren supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a...
Don't vote Liz Warren. She's evil. She used to be a Republican. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think the other guy was kind of like an Andrew Yang kind of dude. Like, he talked in the manifesto. He talks about automation and like. I remember reading that. Like jobs being lost to like robots and dirty Mexicans. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was a crazy story. Like the bump stock thing, I remember arguing with somebody about this, and it was like, no, it can. The guy said it shoots as fast as you can pull a trigger, but it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
it's like you hold it, the thing recoil. It's based on the recoil.
Yeah.
So you just leave your finger there, and it's bouncing back.
So
and
it's
forth.
pretty much automatic at that point.
Yeah.
It was a way to get around the automatic weapons ban thing.
Yeah.
And it's smart. The company that made it, I mean, genius for them.
It's technically not automatic.
Yeah,
because the trigger's being pulled or whatever. It's just like physically, it's like it's amplifying the quickness of how fast you can pull a trigger. Or whatever.
And granted, like in a situation with bump fire, because you can do it without the bump stock too. Like if you just hold it loosely and you let it like
just bounce.
Just bounce. You can do that. It's called bad marksmanship, but but you can do that. It doesn't give you the best accuracy. Of course, in the Vegas shooter incident, he was shooting into a crowd, so it didn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he was just fucking.
But I think that's mostly true in any kind of like a fucking machine gun, like belt fed.
Yeah.
it's not going to be the most accurate thing.
Yeah,
Because you don't use it for accuracy.
Yeah, you just shoot in a circle around the target.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll hit it. That's actual advice, by the way. From,
That's how they train you. It's like, no, just shoot around it and you'll eventually hit the motherfucker. Who cares? Because I think that's like suppression fire.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're just supposed to scare them and be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
it's raining bullets. You
you duck their head under while a guy comes from behind and just takes them out.
Takes them out.
That's military tactics and all that. But, the one thing that irks me about all this gun control debate is that I'm all for gun control, like in the sense of like background checks and banning certain types of weapons. The problem is that the people arguing for it don't know what the fuck they're talking about, so they sound fucking retarded to the people who do know what they're talking about.
And that's almost like the fact that they're not speaking in the correct terms kind of like destroys the whole conversation.
It's like, oh, this gun can fire a 30 round clip in 2 seconds. It's like, what the fuck? What? Okay, 30 round clip. Okay, clip. Sometimes you can switch it with the magazine, right? That's just what's the word?
Just
semantics.
Yeah.
It's because a clip is technically what the bullets come in, and then you pull the bullets off the clip and put them into the magazine.
Gotcha.
So big clips used to be used in like World War II guns and all that
cling.
Stuff. Yeah, that thing that would come out. So it's honestly it's not an argument worth having that at least because it still holds rounds.
It seems pedantic a little bit.
It's just people get stuck on that one thing. Oh, he called it a clip.
So we should invalidate the entire broader point. Yeah.
Now when it comes to certain other things, though, like some people really don't know what they're talking about. I think this one guy, a full of what's it called 30 round revolver.
Shit!
Automatic,
what?
Some shit like that.
That'd be badass. That sounds cool as shit, dude. A 30 round revolver.
Yeah.
How would that look like?
I don't know. But an assault revolver. That one, I remember that one. What's an assault revolver?
Yeah. Well, is it like would it be an assault revolver if you're committing an assault or something? Like if you're like, hey, give me your money, you're assaulting somebody, so the weapon that you're using is a part of the assault.
That's another argument I hear from pro Second Amendment guys is like, oh, it's not an assault weapon until it assaults someone. That's what they say.
That's funny. It's funny because it's like the weapon is going to be like assaulting you. No, it's a dude that's got the gun. It's going to assault you.
You see those memes where like they have like the AR-15s against the wall and the guy's pointing a gun at them like, oh yeah, waiting for him to make a fucking move.
Yeah, I've seen that. But it's like a waste of time. Like, and it sucks because the way arguments, at least political arguments, are being handled nowadays here in the United States, they're all super pedantic and super like everyone has like a threshold and it's like, no, you have to be 100% here or not. You can't be in the middle, right? Okay. You can't be like kind of sort of like I'm on the left and I'm fine with guns. Yeah. I'm cool with them. I don't give a shit. But it's like I'm not allowed to have that position. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, like, so what's your stance on the Second Amendment and the guns? Like, should people have them? Are these guns that can shoot 30 rounds and like as fast as you can pull the trigger?
I think, like realistically, I don't have a problem with them existing and people being able to purchase them. Okay. The thing is that the way in which someone can purchase it it's kind of easy, and we don't look at there's not a holistic look into how are we regulating that in terms of like, because I can go buy an AR-15, right, and then I could sell it to somebody else, and that other
Texas, person, you can straight up without registering, you just under the table, that's legal.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Like I can just sell it to the cartels, and there's nothing illegal with that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and that's fucked up. It's like, whoa, what? So it's legit, and the whole thing is legit. Everything, all of it is legit. But I don't know who the fuck that other dude is. What is he, a fucking nut job? You know what I mean?
I had a handgun the other day, and I needed the money because I owed the government money from the Obamacare shit.
Oh,
so so I sold my gun. Well, I was trying to sell my gun, and people wanted to buy it, but I wanted to notarize it. Like, hey, I sold it to this guy. You know, because if I sell it to someone at a table and they go shoot someone, that gun's registered under me. You know, so they're gonna be like, "What the fuck happened?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I sold it to this guy."
Yeah, exactly. Am I being detained?
Yeah. So I ended up selling it to the pawn shop because at least they notarize that shit. You know?
Okay.
And it's on cameras that I gave it to them. And
Yeah.
all, so.
Okay. How much did you get?
Like $300. I paid like $700.
Damn, that's fucking cold blooded.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It's more than I would have gotten than a fucking gun buyback program.
That's true, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
Did you hear about the buyback shit in New Zealand after the Christchurch shooting?
Yeah.
Some guy was making guns in his basement just to sell them.
With that fucking like the I think I saw an article about that, the ghost gun thing, where they sell like a kind of like a 3D printer type shit.
Yeah.
That machines like the fucking.
I think it's the receiver.
Is it the receiver?
Yeah.
Your machine's the receiver, and you can just buy all the other parts, put it together, and then you got a gun. You know what
Pretty
I mean?
much. Well, essentially, what he was doing, from what I understand, I'm not too sure about it, but he was making pipe guns, like the prison type guns that can shoot 22 rounds.
That's dope.
And he was just making them and taking them to the police station by the hordes, and they had no choice but to take them.
All right. Know? Dude, that's fucking awesome, man.
So that guy was smart as fuck, just making
capitalism always wins.
Yeah. But and the other thing is that the buyback program. Last I heard, like 3 weeks ago, it wasn't too effective. Like only 10% of the guns got like returned.
Right.
And everyone else is just holding on to them. Like, who wants to give up their guns? Like, I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a social movement. You have to have a broader movement, and like I think Bernie talked about it. And I don't know if you watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Bernie Sanders.
Oh yeah, I did not know that. I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. And I think it's at like 9 million views or some shit. I was like, oh shit, fuck yeah. It was smart for Joe and it was smart for Bernie because you're like putting in, you're exposing yourself. Because like when you actually listen and see what the policies are, they're not that nuts. Like in the grander scheme of things, like if you really look at it like something that's socialist, it's not so. None of it is socialist, right? Like he's not calling for like nationalizing fucking property and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's not. That's not what he's going for at all. Which that's what socialism actually is, right? He's just like we shouldn't be scumbags. You know what I mean? Pretty basic shit. And like his view on gun reform, it's pretty like run of the mill. Like get like federal background checks, like make them universal and shit. I
don't understand why that's not a thing yet. Just because people want to get their guns faster, like
I guess, dude.
You let crazy ass motherfuckers buy guns, like
yeah, and that's the thing, man. And there's like a broader problem where it's like nut jobs are like not only getting guns, but nut jobs are like becoming cops. And shit. Yeah. Like that's a broader problem because I've never thought that the whole issue with like police brutality is a racial issue. Because I've seen black cops fucking kill people and shit. It's not like white people get shot by cops all the fucking time, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just fucking lunatics. They're fucking psychos. They're like high school douchebags. 99% of the time, they're the high school douchebags that end up being cops. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like people have fucking power trips and shit. You know what I mean?
Recently, remember that one dude? They had a BB gun in a hotel or some shit, and
the white dude.
Yeah. And then he was like crawling towards a guy, and then
it was so bizarre because they're like, hey, put your hands down and crawl towards his ass, or put your hands. It was some ridiculous. It was like they were playing Twister with him.
Yeah, and meanwhile they were like threatening, like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking shoot you."
Yeah,
and then if you don't do it,
and the dude's just freaking out. He's like, "I don't know what
shoot me. Yeah, he's fucking crying and shit.
Yeah,
and then I admit, like, okay, he did reach back. Like, I think he was grabbing his pants so they wouldn't fall or some shit, but that's when they shot him.
Yeah.
And I understand legally, like, if you by the video and all that shit, the shooting was technically justified. It doesn't mean you're not an asshole for shooting him.
That's such a gross term when you think about it. It's
justified?
Like like the shooting was justified because he reached back because his pants were falling down. And my point is, like, a broader point. Like, how do cops handle shit in England?
Well, I saw a video the other day, actually. I was on one of those gore websites.
Oh, boy.
And there was this, one of the Islamic refugees or whatever. He had a machete. No, it wasn't a machete. It was a samurai sword or a machete. It's one of those two. I was watching videos and getting confounded. But I know he had a sharp object. and he was hacking at this cop, just hacking and hacking. Like his head was just like
holy fuck,
like open, like his ear was like hanging and shit. But the cop was still trying to subdue him, and they finally got him on the floor. They tased him, and then they still, they put the cuffs on him. But like here in America,
he's done.
He's gonna shoot the shit out of you.
Yeah. Like that dude that was running away. There was one video, I can't remember who the fuck it was.
The Slager video?
Yeah, and he's just like running and the cops are just like, ka, ka, ka.
Here's the thing about that video too. Okay, I think I understand what happened with Michael Slager. And what's his name? Brown? I think his name was
Yeah.
Brown. No, I'm thinking Michael Brown. Oh, either way.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I know the cop's
These
name.
people don't matter.
No, I'm not saying that. But I know the cop's name is Slager. Yeah. So he was wrestling with this guy. And he grabbed the taser that he had in his belt. So he picks it up. He tases the guy, and the guy obviously he doesn't like getting tased, right? So he reaches for him, grabs the taser, pulls it out of his hand, but he doesn't hold on to it. It's dropped on the floor. Now the cop, at least from what I took from the video, he didn't see the taser on the floor, and the guy started running, so he thought he had the taser. So he shot him. 15 times, and then 8 of them hit him. So he shoots him while he's running away, thinking he has the taser. Yeah. And then meanwhile, in the video, you can see the taser on the floor behind him.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, he thought he had the taser. If it would have ended at that, then they would have ruled it justified or some shit. But the way he fucked up was he went back, got the taser, and planted it next to the body, and that landed him 20 years in prison. Yeah, I mean that was a dumb move, honestly.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. And there's this whole like culture, like at least with police, that's like, no, we have to like cover each other's asses.
I hate that. I hate that so much. That's gang mentality.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Straight up, like.
Yeah, and it's constant though. Like you always hear cops like falsifying records, and doing all kinds of shit.
Did you hear about LAPD that they caught them like planting drugs on people?
Yeah,
and shit like that?
I think like 2,000 like people were like released or some shit like that.
Everyone that was on like drug charges, they pretty much had to let them go.
Yeah,
and
that's so fucked up because you're fucking up. You're fucking up in 2 different ways. One, you're ruining somebody's life. 2, you're like reducing the confidence that people have because that's like in the United States, the whole thing. Everything hangs based on people's confidence.
Oh yeah,
like we believe that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, you're upholding the law for the good of the people.
But it's like what the fuck, man? Like why are we? How can we hire these people and like walk around like we're hiring these fucking lunatics to walk around with guns and make sure that nothing goes awry, and they're fucking up right here. You know what I mean? It's nuts, man. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Like I guess it comes down to like the pressure of the moment, like the Philando Castile shooting.
Oh yeah.
Like the guy told him like, hey, by the way, I have a gun. I'm just letting you know. All right, don't reach for it. But his wallet was where his gun was in his back pocket.
Yeah.
So he's like, I said, don't reach for it. And then as soon as he said that, he just pulls out the gun, and starts shooting. Doesn't give him time to pick up his hands, nothing. And I was just like, wow, well, like the guy, why? If he wanted to shoot you, he wouldn't have told you, I have a gun.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time,
what are you supposed to do in that situation?
Yeah,
when you're like a person in a car and it's like, hey man, I have a gun, I have like a license.
Yeah.
Like, let me see your ID, but don't move. And it's like, all right, let me just have it levitate with my powers. You know what I mean? Like, dude,
it's gotten really bad, like to the point where like whenever I got pulled over once this year. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to reach into the glove compartment for my fucking insurance.
Yeah. It's like, hey, dude, it's there. You get it.
Yeah,
the door's open, dog.
Like, I'm gonna get out the car. You can put handcuffs on me.
Put me in handcuffs. Put me in the squad car, and then look for it. I'm gonna tell you exactly where it is. I'm not gonna die tonight. You know what I mean?
It's scary, man. Like,
I got pulled over by a cop, and the cop was like. He goes, why are you so nervous? And I told him straight up, I'm like, hey man, like every single day I hear like cops killing people. Like I told him that, and he's like, oh come on man, we're not all bad. I'm like, I'm not saying you're bad. I'm just like, this is legit. Like dude, I'm afraid of you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's horrible. The fact that like okay, so the majority of these shootings with cops and like black people or just cops people in general, they start off as routine stops. Like, oh, he passed the red light, let me go stop him, or he's speeding 5 miles over, let me stop him, and then it just escalates out of nowhere. So there's no reason not to be afraid.
Yeah,
when
dude,
you get pulled
like,
over.
It's the most logical thing. It's like, oh fuck, you know. And I don't know if it's a minority thing, but I've always been terrified of police. Whenever I get pulled over, I'm like, I start getting cold sweats and shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is it, bro. And I'm not trying to be like a fucking like a snowflake or anything like that. And every single time, I'm literally don't have like I have not the whole notion of, well, if you're not breaking the law, why are you so nervous or whatever? Never. It's always like, oh, your lights out or some shit.
Here's the thing about the police and shit. Like, okay, one time, someone I knew stole from someone. Right? I'm not gonna get into names and shit, but
that's too bad.
They stole someone. They stole from someone. I found it and I returned it to the owner. Well, they got the police involved, and I was all for it. I was like, "No, fuck this guy. You know, he stole from you."
Yeah.
So the police put me in the room, and they were asking to see my social media messages with my friend that I returned them to. And I was like, I was kind of like, whoa, like that's kind of like an invasion of privacy right there.
It's kind of fucked up, bro.
Yeah, but as soon as he saw me jump up, like, he's like, you don't have anything on there that could get you in trouble, do you? I'm just like,
yeah, like,
you know,
instantly,
and like, it felt like I was the bad guy in that situation. And I was just like, damn, dude, these guys suck. But no, I think they're just trained to put pressure on you, so to see if you'll crack, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
like I think one time because they'll do that like I heard about that they'll ask you goofy questions or whatever oh, do you got any bazookas in the truck or whatever to see how you react or whatever. And one time I was crossing back from Mexico or whatever, and the cop the customs guy was like, do you have any hand grenades or bazookas or whatever? And then I go, oh, I just got some depleted uranium I'm gonna sell with my my friends over in Iran. And then he goes, pull over or whatever. And I was like, okay. And he started searching everything, and he goes, you shouldn't joke around like that, man. Not right now or
depleted
whatever.
Depleted uranium, just in the car, just hanging out in the back.
Yeah, there's no like lead shielding or anything
at all.
Yeah. I'm doubling down with it. I'm fine with the cancer. Yeah. And he goes, don't joke around like that, man. I'm like, no, you were joking around. So I just I met your joke and I raised it a little bit, you know? Like, I don't have a problem, like, you searching my shit because obviously I don't have any fucking depleted uranium, you moron. You know, I went to Camargo to go get uranium, you know? Anyways. But yeah, dude, like, they're weird, dude. Like, I one time I was stopped by the Border Patrol, actually, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, because they pulled me over and they're like, hey man, like, what are you doing? Or can we search your car? And I'm like, I don't have to do anything for you. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want? Should
have showed them. Oh, you don't have it anymore, right? I was gonna say you should have showed them your Mjolnir tattoo.
I still got it.
Oh yeah, you still got it. You should have showed them like, nah, man, this isn't for me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, wrong guy.
I'm a white supremacist. Let me see your fucking birth certificate, motherfucker. Brown ass bitch.
By the way, Serv is Hispanic, just so you guys know. He's not white at all.
No, I'm super Mexican. Yeah. But yeah, man, the whole fucking thing is bizarre. I don't know what the fuck's going on. There's a bunch of shit. Trump going nuts. The shootings. And what the fuck else happened?
There's the Amazon, and then there's Chernobyl Part 2 going on.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
that was like a ship, right? Like it was.
It was. I don't know. They're saying it's the whole USSR propaganda bullshit all over again, where they keep lying about it. At first, it was like, oh, it's a nuclear reactor that went bad, and it's like, oh, it was a nuclear weapon that malfunctioned.
Right.
And now they're saying that the death toll could be anywhere from the Russians say 5 or 6. And then the Americans was like, oh, it could be up to 300. Like, oh, that's not that much of a flux in the number.
Yeah. Somebody's fucking dropping the ball. It's probably the Russians, because they're badass about that. And I think I was reading about an interesting story that had happened in Russia also. Around the same type of situation, there was I don't know if it was a weapons, munitions. They were developing nukes. And it was kind of like in the middle of nowhere, kind of in Russia, and something had gotten bad, and there was like a meltdown or something.
Okay.
And there was like a village, and what the Russians did, they just straight up just killed the villagers. Like, they're just like, oh, you guys are all fucking like
irradiated.
Yeah, and shit, they're like gonna die anyway. So they were just like, oh, you guys need to move. Something happened in our secret facility. something happened in our secret facility, so it's bad. So you guys need to leave. And then like apparently the stories are that they showed up and they just started killing all like the farm animals and shit.
Yeah.
And they got the people out and they just fucking murked all the people. A couple 100 people they just killed. They buried everything and nobody knew about it until like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They found out about it.
I think I know about that. It was like a lake, right?
Yeah.
And the lake was so hardcore irradiated.
Yeah.
And people would still drink from it and shit. Yeah, I think they gave everyone the order to evacuate, and those that didn't got shot and killed. And even if you got evacuated, like you pretty much had a lifespan of like a year.
Yeah, you just fucking
At
died.
that point, is that done? Yeah, it is.
Oh shit, it's raining.
We're picking that up.
Nice.
Anyway, going back to the Second Amendment. So, sorry, we went way off.
No, it's fine.
But okay, so here's my stance on the Second Amendment. I think we should have put more gun control laws maybe 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
But now it's too late. We have so much guns, like there's no way to regulate them. And like unless you take the extremist approach to it, we should ban all the guns and just go and confiscate them all.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're going to have the second revolution, right?
Yeah, it's just going to be a bloodbath.
And the Civil War 3, yeah, at that point. Because the people who are stocking up guns are waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
They want that to happen.
Yeah. It's all the doomsday preppers and shit. Yeah.
Pretty much. And so what I think now at this point, where it's too late to get rid of all the guns, I legitimately think everyone should own a gun.
Yeah, it's just that bad, right?
Yeah, it's just that bad.
Just
like,
everyone get guns.
And I know there's the stereotype of the good guy with the gun. You know, it's like, okay, there could be like 300 people at Walmart, 5 of them have guns, and there's a mass shooter goes in. Chances are that none of the 5 people with guns are gonna shoot back. They're just gonna run.
Not only that, but let's say hypothetically they do.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that just turns into a fucking bigger massacre.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
they're all shooting at each other. There's people running around. There's going to be people dying.
I did not think about that. Yeah.
The cops show
true.
up,
There's
right?
like 5 people with guns.
Yeah. Which one is the bad guy? How am I going to know that? You know what I mean? And then the cops are going to be like, oh shit, there's 5 people with guns.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take them all out, right? It's stupid. You know what I mean?
That's I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Because like say that you're in a school shooting situation. One of the kids has a gun. A shooter shoots the kid, and then all of a sudden, all the teachers come out with their guns.
Yeah, and they're like, "Which one was it, cop?"
Yeah, and they just start shooting at each other, and then the cops are like, "Oh, kill them all!"
Yeah.
Like,
It just turns into a Mexican standoff.
And that's why I think they told us in the military don't use warning shots, because you say you have a gun. And you tell the guy, get the fuck back, and the guy has a gun. Then you shoot a warning shot. That's going to click in their head. Oh, he's shooting at me.
Yeah.
Then it just escalates the situation.
Yeah, because the guy's all like, oh, shit, I should defend myself.
Yeah.
With this gun.
Yeah.
It's like...
So, in a sense, essentially, it's kind of the same thing. Like, okay, bad guy, like the security guard that stopped the mass shooter, but then the cop shot him.
Yeah.
That happened last year or something. Like
Yeah. I don't know how true it was, but I had heard a report that one of the guys there was somebody in El Paso in the Walmart that had a gun, and like he tried to shoot the dude or some shit.
Yeah.
And the cops came and it like fucked everything up. Because they thought he was the shooter and they got him. I don't know how true this. I read this. I don't know if it's true. I need to look back into it. But that was allegedly the thing, and that's when I was starting to think about it. I'm like, well, it's a dumb idea. The good guy with the gun theory is stupid because it makes the cop's job harder. Because now they have to figure out who's
the guy that we have to shoot. And who do we leave alone?
Bad guy.
Yeah.
And if you find a guy with a gun and it's like, no, I'm the good guy. What if that guy was the fucking shooter? And you're like, oh, cool. You know what I mean?
The guy dressed up like fucking Neo from the Matrix. Because I mean, those are the people who are carrying fucking guns.
It's always the dudes that would show up with trench coats.
Yeah.
I'm surprised remember that one weirdo? What was the guy at STC? Super freakazoid. Like he was like a liar. He lied about
I know who it is, and
let's not name him.
Yeah, I'm not going to name him because he might listen to this.
Yeah, he might shoot us. Yeah. But I always thought that guy would have been a shooter. You know what I mean?
It's kind of hard to say because he was all talk no bark.
That's true,
and that's
that's not the case with these people.
The thing is, with the shooter from the El Paso. Or he was from Allen, and when he drove 9 freaking hours, man, it's like just to get to a place where there's majority Mexicans.
Dude, can you imagine if it was here? Like if you went to fucking McAllen to the mall and just started murking people.
Yeah,
you know, Jesus fuck, dude. What? Like, and just because we're brown, and then there's another level of insanity to this, because this guy's devoid of any kind of historical context. It's like Texas, and you're upset that there's Mexicans here. This fucking place was Mexico, dude. The fact that there are more white people is kind of disturbing. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing about that, or that people, at least when it comes to white nationalism, it's like, what did you expect when, what was it, like a 3,000 white people come to colonize the area, right?
Yeah.
In a continent full of brown people.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think was going to happen? The population was
just going to disappear?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what do you think this is going to be like an Avengers scenario? They just snap your fingers and all the brown people, we all just fucking vanish? No, dude. Like, you're here. You are here amongst us. You can't. We can't just leave. Where the fuck are we gonna go?
Exactly.
You know what I mean, dude? Like, you showed up to our house, and then like now you're fucking bitching about what's in the fridge. What? It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense, man.
The guy said that the Hispanic invasion of Texas. Well, originally it was a white invasion of Texas. Like Mexico's like, yeah, come in, white people. Oh, by the way, you have to learn Spanish, and they're like, what? Like,
no, we're taking over, dog.
By the way, you can't have slaves either. Oh, that's it.
I've had it. Yeah,
and that's one of the things about the Battle of the Alamo. Was like, wow, they were fighting for slavery. That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. And you don't learn that in school, man.
No, they just tell you like, oh, Davy Crockett.
Yeah, they were so brave. They were all so brave. Fighting to take away the land of the people that had it. Can you imagine if that shit happened now? Like, if all Mexicans were like, no, we're just gonna take this bitch back. We're just gonna start killing off white people. Fuck you, man. You know what I mean? Like, we're just gonna take it back, dog. Like, it's so bizarre. I think there's, and I don't like this guy very much, but Elijah Muhammad, that guy's a psycho, right?
Wait, is Elijah Muhammad the Arab guy that's like calling for all the reforms in Islam and stuff, or is that like a
Elijah Muhammad? No, it's not Elijah Muhammad. I'm sorry. It's fuck, dude. He's the black guy. God damn it. Elijah Muhammad, he was the Muslim Brotherhood, not the Muslim Brotherhood. It's the Black Muslims of America.
Yeah,
and Muhammad Ali and all those folks they were following him, and shit, dude, what the fuck is his name? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to
Google it.
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
So the all-knowing
Google.
Oh man, there's some shit going on with Google too. I don't know if you know that.
What? Tell me about it.
They're straight up. A lady was caught. She was like one of the head people of Google, like the search engine, the people that make it, and she was caught on video. Like someone had like the camera in their like chest, like like a kind of hitting or whatever. She was caught saying like, "Oh yeah, we're changing the search settings so that way we don't have a repeat of 2016."
In terms of what?
In terms of the election, they don't want another.
Repeat.
And it's funny because if you go to Google Images right now and you type in CEO, they changed it because you know how most CEOs are men.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead and try it. Go click CEO on Images, and you're gonna get
chicks,
men and women.
Oh shit, that's bizarre. That's funny.
Like Google is changing their algorithm so that way it can all your searches will be
fair.
Yeah, more fair. And more, yeah,
but exactly. the whole point of it is what's most popular, right? Like the search engine is based on because this is, I'm assuming this is kind of also leading or bleeding through what the Republicans want, because I don't know if you watched that Google C-SPAN shit where the CEO of Google he went to Congress and they were talking to him about like, oh, when I look up Donald Trump, I see Donald Trump's a moron, Donald Trump's an idiot, and like he had to explain to them, well, that's just it's based on the most popular queries or whatever. Whatever people are looking up, the most relevant one is the one that gets put in front or whatever.
That makes sense.
And well, they don't want that. It's like, no, it has to be fair and balanced. So they have to implement, I guess, or they want.
So like they want like good Trump stuff and bad Trump stuff.
And like at an even amount, which I guess is fine. Because like honestly, like algorithms are not very good. Like they can fuck shit up. Like especially like on YouTube and shit, where you watch one video. And then, like, if you watch a Ben Shapiro video, and then you'll start getting recommended, like, Stefan Molyneux, and, like, you start getting crazier and crazier, and before you know it, you shoot up a fucking, like, Walmart. You know what I mean? There's this lady, her name is Kathy something. She wrote an awesome book that I recommend to I recommend to people to read. It's called Weapons of Mass Destruction, or Math Destruction. And she was a quant. She was the people that would, like, develop algorithms and shit like that. And she talks about how algorithms are kind of self-defeating in that, like, the way a bank decides whether or not you're credit worthy, it's like, well, does he have a job? And if you don't have a job, it's like, oh shit, we can't give you a credit or whatever. And then when you go apply for a job, they look into your credit, and then it's like, well, he doesn't have very good credit, so we can't get him. So it gets worse and worse, and it's just like
I was stuck in that. I was like, I don't have a car to go work, but I can't go get a car without going to work. Mm-hmm. It was that the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Thing, And these algorithms, that's the way they work. And she has this whole chapter on, like, education. And how teachers are like, well, you need to make sure these kids are doing well, or like have high standards. And I can't remember what state had implemented performance-based wages for teachers. So like if the students are doing well, you won't get paid as well. But then that turns into, well, like if you're a good teacher and you have bad students, you're going to get paid less, and you don't want to do that. So you leave and you go to a private school,
and then they hire
some person that doesn't give a fuck. And then that just kind of like makes it worse. So it's an interesting book. It's called Weapons of Math Destruction. I'd recommend it. Anyways, Louis Farrakhan was the guy.
Okay. Was he the guy? Like he's like a right-wing Arab guy.
Yeah, he's crazy. Well, he's not Arab. He's a Muslim.
Sorry, Muslim. Sorry, that was totally racist of me.
Yeah, it was super fucked up. Buddy. Yeah, it's wow, I can't believe you.
Well, I mean, it's hard because I don't have a picture of him, and I only know his name. Yeah, and the other thing is, all Muslims take in a Muslim name, an Arabic name, so it's kind of hard.
Louis, come on, dude.
Okay, you got me there.
But he was on Phil Donahue like back in the 80s, and that topic of like white folks saying, oh, you know, brown people, you should go back or whatever. And he had this awesome answer. This guy's really bad. He's like crazy, but he had like a fantastic response. He goes, to the people that tell us to go back, he goes, I want you to remember, like, he's like, really think about this. And he goes, you're not a native anywhere on the planet. And he's like, you're there because, like, if you're Caucasian, you're literally from like one place, the Caucasus Mountains or whatever, in the middle of like Turkey or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you're from. And he goes, everywhere that you are, you're there because you came and you took it from the people that were there or whatever. And he goes, so you shouldn't tell people to go back, because if they tell you where for you to go back, where would you go or whatever? And everyone got pissed off, and I was like, yes, fuck yeah, man. Finally. I'm totally for like a race war. No, I'm just kidding.
Ray Hoa, man. That's another right-wing conspiracy, or a white supremacist conspiracy. Ray Hoa, racial holy war.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, man. Jesus. It's so goofy, dude. Yeah, it's I don't know what it is, dude. And I honestly, like, you see this, and it's kind of cliche, but there's like some serious white anxiety or whatever. You know what I mean? In terms of like, oh fuck, dude, like, dude, these people are gonna fuck us up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. I think they think we're gonna like do what they did to us or something.
Yeah, I don't,
you know what
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
The thing with the white nationalists, or the people like their case, they're freaking out that the fact that the minority populations combined are gonna overwhelm the 50%. You know.
Yeah.
That the white people have. And the thing is, even if the minority populations combined reach that 51% level, the white people are still going to be the majority.
Yeah.
You know, they just kind of throw all colored people into one fucking thing. Oh, they're not white. Oh, they must, even though they come from different parts of the world, we're going to throw them into one fucking... No, man, that's racist as fuck. That's why I don't like being called a POC. Like I did.
Yeah, I gotcha. No, but like technically, like here's the thing that's always blown my mind, because I don't know, like Mexicans, right? Like, yeah. Us Mexicans, we are like it's exactly the same situation
Yeah.
as white folks that came in. Like Spanish showed up to Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just took over.
Yeah.
Like we're all the descendants of Europeans,
Yeah.
right? It's the exact same thing. That's why in any kind of fucking form that you fill out, it's like, what's your race? And we have no choice but to
Yeah.
put white.
White.
Yeah.
And
you know what I
it
mean?
has like a sub box Hispanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it's like, what's your ethnicity? Oh, I'm Hispanic.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It means you speak Spanish.
So
That's all that means.
So does that mean that like the census in the United States is fucked, kind of, because they're counting Hispanic people as white
Yeah, because
people?
we're all white, technically.
Yeah.
Because, and like, technically it makes sense because we are like the white people of like Mexico and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like there's Native Americans in Mexico,
Yeah.
right? There's natives and shit, and we're not a part of them. Some of us might be more native than others.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I got brown skin.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
obviously comes from the natives.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But then you got like curly ass hair. Natives
Yeah,
didn't have
that's
curly hair.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know,
That's straight up like Spanish shit.
yeah, exactly.
Nigerian.
So it's like it's the same thing, but who was it? There's some guy that like considers like race is like genetic irrelevance with like fatal social consequences.
Okay, that's kind of
You know what I
okay.
mean? Like it's just like a genetic happenstance. You know, like you just happen to have a funny last name, or you're kind of darker, and it's like, well, you're the enemy. Like that dude that fucking shot up those people in El Paso. It's like there's fucking Mexican folks that look white as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see them. You go to the mall on the fucking like people from fucking Reynosa and Monterrey and shit. Green eyes, fucking blonde ass hair and shit. Fucking white ass looking motherfuckers, but they're Mexican as shit. Don't speak a fucking lick of English.
Yeah.
You know, how the fuck are you gonna discern that, bro? Like, what's wrong with you? You know, there's German people in
Yeah.
fucking Mexico. There's Jewish. There's fucking Jews.
There's
in Mexico.
Japanese people in
Yeah,
Mexico.
Exactly. It's come on, man. Like, okay, this happened to me at work. I work at a call center, and there was a Japanese fellow, and I do bilingual. I do Spanish and English. So a Japanese guy called in, and he was speaking to me in Spanish,
Okay.
but kind of broken. And I go, do you feel more comfortable speaking in English? And he goes, no hablo inglés, or whatever. And I was
Okay.
like, oh, fuck, that's weird, dog, because you're Japanese. You know what I mean? He didn't speak English, but he spoke Spanish because he lived in Mexico.
Yeah.
This is a bizarre situation.
I had a karate teacher. He was like the grandmaster or whatever. And he came from Japan, but he worked in Mexico. So it was very hard to understand him because he had the Japanese accent. He was trying to talk in Spanish, which I barely know as it is. So I was just here like, what the fuck? And on top of that, he smoked like 30 cigarettes like every hour. So he was like, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I got in trouble with my sensei because I didn't know what the fuck the grandmaster was saying. So.
Yeah, it's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
That's the grandmaster, man.
Pretty
It's
much.
like, dude, what?
Yeah,
Have you ever
dude.
like? Yeah, dude, it's a weird thing to hear like an Asian person speaking Spanish with an
Yeah.
Asian accent. It's the most bizarre thing ever.
I think
It's funny though.
I think we're just used to like just the English culture around here.
Yeah,
like
it's
in the
true.
movies and stuff, all the Asian accent speaking
Yeah.
English and all that stuff.
And then you're faced with the reality of it. It's not like
Yeah.
that, you know. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like race is a bizarre situation in the United States. There's definitely a lot of shit, and like that's why I don't like people like fucking. I don't know if you ever heard like Steven Crowder and like Ben Shapiro. They're like,
change
there's
my mind guy.
yeah,
Okay.
dude, that fucking dumbass. Brain. He was Brain from Arthur, the
What?
cartoon character, the cartoon. Remember?
like Arthur, like Fist Arthur.
yeah.
Like, okay.
He was on that show. Yeah,
Steven Crowder,
yeah. He was the voice of Brain.
Brains the bunny. Or no,
I think he's like a walrus. I don't know what the fuck he is. He's some kind of bizarre fucking. Is he an aardvark or something?
okay. I did not know that.
Squirk.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucking,
He's a filthy Canadian, dude.
fucking dude from Arthur's. He up there trying to argue with college kids.
Yeah,
and shit.
and like him and Ben Shapiro both, they're always arguing with like 17-year-olds that are like fucking like, and like I don't know if you watched that BBC interview with Ben Shapiro with the dude where he's just like, hey man, you're talking about people should be. I think the whole base of it, because he had written a book about how we need to be more inclusive in our conversations or whatever. And this dude is all like, but you're always super like not inclusive and kind of like super divisive, and you're always fighting with people. How do you marry them together? You wrote a book about being decent with each other, but you're constantly doing the exact opposite of that. And Ben Shapiro's like, well, you're clearly a liberal and you don't like me, and just I'm more popular than you, and all kinds of shit like that. And this dude is like a Tory in England, so he's like a crazy right wing person. And the guy's like, hey man, he goes, Mr. Shapiro, if you had any idea how ridiculous your statement is, you wouldn't have said it or whatever. So much so that Ben Shapiro actually came out and he's like, I got owned or whatever.
I need to watch that because I haven't seen any videos of him getting owned in an argument. Like,
because it was with an adult. He wasn't talking to a child. And he got owned big time. And because all the dude did was like ask him like 3 questions. He's like, you say this, but you do this. What's the deal with that? And Ben Shapiro just lost his shit. Mr. Fact and Logic just fucking shit himself.
There's an actual video on YouTube that teaches you how to argue like Ben Shapiro. And then it teaches you how to defeat it at the end of the video.
Because if you notice, whenever he talks, he'll like ramble and he'll give you like 40 points. Yeah. And they're all like misrepresented. So the problem with that is that why it's so difficult to argue with somebody like Ben Shapiro is that realistically you would have to be like, okay, cool, you said 40 things, you said 6 things. I have to sit back and we have to go point by point why you're wrong on each one in a debate, and you can't do that, right? Unless you're like a fucking genius and you have like exactly all the things that he's gonna say, and you already have the counterpoints or whatever. Because you'll say like he'll machine gun. Like he has like machine gun logic. Well, he'll just fucking
throw everything at you,
and then it's like, whoa, hold on, you said 80 things. Let's unpack them. You know what I mean?
The thing I like about Ben Shapiro the most is that he obviously prepares beforehand, all the shit. Like, he gets his sources together. And he's like, all right, he thinks of every possible counter argument you can have, and you'll come up with something for it.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the case, because in this situation, the guy just asked him 3 questions, and that's all it took to totally destroy the cool kid philosopher or whatever. the pinnacle of right wing intellectualism was just destroyed because they asked him, hey, by the way, you say we should do this, but you do the opposite in real life. What's up with that? And he just fucking folded completely. That's all it took. You know what I mean? He built himself up. Like there was one that I saw, one like argument about climate change, which was awesome. And he goes, he's talking to somebody, and he goes, well, like maybe. He goes, maybe. Let's say it's true. Let's say it's true, and let's say for the benefit of the doubt, let's just say, and he does that always. It's like, it's an interesting tactic, because it's like he's setting up the rules of the argument. So he's like, let's just say it's true, climate change, and 10 years, 10 feet, it's gonna. He goes, let's say it's 10 feet. Fine. People are going to sell that land and move or whatever. It's like, and it's like, okay, to who? Who are they going to sell it to? It's 10 feet underwater, dog. Who are they going to sell it to? Aquaman? You know what I mean?
I saw that one. I saw this other one with he was like a bank CEO or something. He was like a rich billionaire guy. And he was talking about the climate change thing. Like, if it's a scientific fact that, all this land's going to be underwater, then how come the value of it is still really skyrocketed high? And that's what he brought up.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah. And it's like, why? Like, banks don't lie.
Yeah, but he's like, banks want to make money, But I'm not thinking like, well, why would they devalue it now? Right,
and the argument was that banks don't want to lose money.
Yeah.
And it's like, did you exist between 2008 and 2009? What did they do? Like, the whole crash was predicated on banks making risky loans that they knew they weren't going to collect on and then selling them as a security. You know what I mean? Like, Why are you lying, dog? You know, and
Yeah.
of course they're totally fine with losing long term because they're totally fixated on earning in short term. So
Yeah.
yeah, of course the value is going to be up in a land that they know might not be worth it.
It might not be there.
It might be
period.
there in 10 years as long as they sold it to a fucking dumbass that bought it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, and they get away with it because nobody kind of like just goes an extra inch, and it's like, wait, why? Just
Yeah.
that's all you have to do.
But even then, all they can do is shoot you down by saying, "Have you ever owned a business? Have you ever done this? Are you a billionaire? No. All right, sit down."
Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. I know what I'm talking about. The banks never lose money ever. You know what I mean? It's it's completely ahistorical and fucking goofy as shit. But yeah, that was an interesting fucking. But yeah, Ben Shapiro, man, fucking.
I like Ben Shapiro just because like the people that try to argue against him, they don't usually present the best argument at all.
Right.
And they get
It's a problem.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him argue with like a powerhouse intellectual
Like,
on the left.
Like who would you
Noam
consider?
Chomsky.
Okay.
Noam Chomsky, fucking Cornel West, folks that know what they're talking about.
Didn't Ben Shapiro call out Bernie Sanders or something like that? He wanted to
He wanted to debate AOC.
Oh, okay, AOC, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
he wanted,
that's just easy picking right there. Man.
Not only, well, she has an economics degree. She went to school in economics.
That doesn't mean anything.
Well, it doesn't, but what was interesting is that he's a lawyer, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is where I go into it. I'm like, oh, this guy's a moron, right? Because he goes, I will donate $10,000 to her campaign. That's a felony. You can't do that.
Okay.
You can't donate $10,000 to anybody's campaign. You can't do it. No. To her personal campaign. And I got into an argument with somebody about that. But yeah, like it's funny because he's a lawyer. He went to school.
I think they called him out on that, and then he changed it to charity of her choice.
Yeah. Afterwards, yeah, exactly. It was funny. It's like, man, you're a terrible lawyer. Like you should be like, you shouldn't do that, bro. That's against the law. But yeah, that goes into like just showing like people deify this guy. Like, oh man, this guy like he knows what he's talking about. And if you just kind of listen. And you listen to the argument, they're usually shitty ass arguments. But the thing is that he presents himself so confidently that it's like,
really hard to go against it. And like you said, he sets up the rules of the argument prior,
right.
So they're always in his favor.
When you exactly when like if you ever listen to him, he always says, "Let's say for the sake of argument, blah 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 is true."
Immediately doing that's already saying you're wrong. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's why if you're arguing against him, just be like, no. I don't agree with the premise. You know what I mean? Because it's a bullshit premise, and that's it. Like, because I mean, you can't have an argument or a conversation with somebody that says, "Here are the rules," and all the rules are on my favor, and it's like, nah. Yeah. It's like you're playing a chess game, and then the person goes, "Cool, you can't use any of your fucking pieces.
You only the pawns.
Yeah, you can only use the pawns. That's it. I can use all of them, but you can only use your pawns. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, and he just fucking like owns the fucking shit out of you. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Okay. What when it comes to argument about climate change, I legitimately don't think there's anything to argue about. The scientists say one thing, and they're angry. Bill Nye was lighting up a globe on fire and shit. He was like pissed off.
Well, the thing about Bill Nye that upsets me is that
he's not an actual scientist.
He's not. He's a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
That and there is some like legitimate reasons to be concerned. But the thing is that people need to understand about science. That's the reality. Because I've done research in college and shit. And the thing is that a lot of folks, especially scientists and researchers, they do whatever gives them grants.
Yeah,
that's true. What it is. Like
you can pay them off.
You can whatever gives you a grant. Like I've worked on carbon sequestration, which is the biggest scam ever. It's not gonna work, dog. Like I've tried. Like I've literally spent like 2 years of my college career working on that, and it's just a flub. It didn't work. But scientists are gonna say whatever's gonna get them grants. Right? They're going to say it's fucking crazy because like we're going to give them money. We're going to give them money, and we depend on it being impartial, but it isn't. It's not impartial. Scientists are human beings. Mm-hmm. They're people. They're not fucking like deities.
It's
right?
why you have the fucking the tobacco scientists saying no, there's no evidence between this and cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Or like folks with sugar and shit. It's like no, it's not good. It's not bad for you. It's great for you. It's healthier. You know, like of course, because they're getting paid. They're being funded by this. They don't get funding. They don't exist.
Yeah.
Right. So like yes, there's a guy Robert Lisden. He's an atmospheric physicist, and he actually had a conversation with Bill Nye back in the day, and I think it was like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. I don't know. But he was talking to Bill Nye about climate change and shit. And this guy is an atmospheric physicist. That's what he does.
Okay.
And Bill Nye was like, oh, well, this is going to happen. The ice, like, he goes, temperature regulation has to do with the Gulf Stream or whatever. You pull in cold air from the Arctic, it cools shit, whatever. And he goes, if the salt haline mix or whatever in the ocean, basically desaltinization or whatever, it's going to cause that current to change or whatever. And Robert Lisden is like, and it's funny because he goes, no, it's all based on air. Like wind is what drives the current, the Arctic currents, not the salt
levels
content of the ocean or whatever. And he goes, in order to do that, to fuck with that current, you would have to stop the planet from spinning or whatever. Like we have to stop the rotation of the Earth. That'll fuck with the wind currents and shit. And he's talking to fucking Bill Nye about this, and Bill Nye gets super pissed off. And it's funny because he got caught, and he goes, "So are you saying it's not a problem? Is that what you're saying, or whatever?" And
defaults to
it's like, so you don't care that we're all gonna die. And the guy's like, "No, man, I'm not saying that." And it's awesome because Robert Lisden goes, "No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if you're going to have scare tactics, make them accurate to the science or whatever."
Yeah.
And you got pissed because there's some shit. There's some shit about climate change that's bullshit.
Yeah. I can see that.
But there's also like, of course, what's the downside of being more eco-friendly? You know what I mean? Like, what's the downside? Like, of us taking care of it? There's no downside. Like, if they're wrong and we do this, there's no downside. There's benefits because we're going to have a healthier environment. But if they're right, it's fucking terrible. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not a good situation, man.
I had made a post right now today, like, because I see so many people posting about, oh my God, the Amazon's on fire. The thing is, like, I'm not saying that it's nothing to be worried about. But the Amazon frequently catches fire around this time of year. It just happens that this one's really bad.
Yeah.
And previously there was a record before this, and no one cared about it then.
Right. Yeah.
And now everyone's like freaking out about the environment, and I'm glad they are.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like they're freaking out about it for the wrong reasons, because they're like, oh look, they're sharing pictures of the animals that got burned and shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the animals, dude. Like that's not why you should be. That's not why you should be worried about this. The worried about the fact that that's where most of our like 20% of our oxygen comes from.
It's the second. It's there and somewhere in Taiwan. They're the largest carbon sinks on the planet.
Yeah, and like people, when it comes to climate change, everyone's like, "Oh, the environment, and they're bringing up like a hippie logic.
Mm-hmm. We're destroying Mother Earth.
Yeah, we're not destroying Mother Earth at all. But Mother Earth could give a shit about what we do.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Like we're gonna die.
Yeah,
like
we're fucking ourselves over.
We're destroying ourselves, which should be a bigger point, right? Like it shouldn't be Mother Earth. No, it's they're like it existed when there was higher carbon levels before. It was when the dinosaurs were around.
Yeah.
And you had fucking 10-foot tall spiders and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I learned that carbon levels dictate the size of bugs. Like depending on the carbon levels, they get bigger or smaller, which is kind of cool.
They did a test on that. I think they had a bug and they raised it in the oxygen tank or some shit, and it got like 20% bigger.
Yeah,
I was like, wow,
that's pretty cool, man.
If we
and
wanted
horrific.
to, if we wanted to, we can make like a Jurassic Park type thing with bugs. But that's actually interesting. There's actually a quote from Jurassic Park I really like. I can't quote it off the top of my head, but it was something. It was Ian Malcolm, Who's the guy who plays him again?
Oh, the guy that did The Fly?
Yeah.
Shit. I know what you're talking about.
I was going to make a joke about it. But anyway, so in that book, his character is like, oh yeah, we could nuke like the entirety of the earth and kill ourselves and every life on the surface, but like somewhere within the earth, like life is going to be alive. Like there's going to be
finds a way.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Is like
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. There you go. Yeah, but he says you could nuke the entirety of the earth, kill all the animals, all the plants, and everything. But somewhere there's going to be some kind of like small microscopic organism left alive. Eventually, give it a couple billion years, you're going to have like life again. But it's going to be different. But it's going to be life again. Yeah. And he's like, it doesn't matter what we do to the planet.
Yeah, dude, fucking everybody go out, get a Hummer, fucking burn, baby, burn. Fuck it, we're going to be fine, folks. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah, man, it's weird. I think that, there's like certain organisms that are like, that live in fucking acidic environments that shouldn't exist, or in like super hot temperatures beneath the ocean and shit, by volcanoes and all kinds of fucked up shit. And they're fine. Like bugs, like fucking germs are the most resilient fucking. But yeah, man, going back to the fucking environment and shit. I don't know, man, like. I don't know what the deal is.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Within our lifetimes, apparently.
Hopefully, we'll see, man. Let it burn, so you can match the hellscape that is the United States, or just the fucking planet in general. Everyone's going fucking crazy.
Donald Trump's the king of the Jews.
Donald Trump's the king of the Jews. There is no such thing as racism. Yep. Everything is fine, folks. Don't worry about it. We're gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna be fine.
We're not 15 minutes from poverty.
We're not. We're totally good. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine. We're doomed. We're doomed.
We're fucked.
All right, man. It was a cool conversation.
For sure.
We should come back next week.
I'll try.
Organize ourselves a little bit more and maybe have specific talking points. I think I wanted to do a deep dive into the second debates.
I need to brush up on that. I did not see the second debate.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. It was dumb. Like as a preview.
Were they still trying to do the Spanish speaking to pander to Spanish speakers?
No, not this time around.
They learned from the first time.
Yeah, dude, that was embarrassing, dude.
Cringeworthy.
So bad, man.
Biblioteca.
Yeah, dude. And Cory Booker, dude. When Cory Booker spoke Spanish, it was the most painful thing I've ever seen in my life on television.
Even Beto. I mean,
if you check out the podcast, I talk about it because they asked him a question and he managed to not answer the question in two different fucking languages, which is pretty fucking impressive. Like that man's politics are at 100%. But yeah, it was a shit show. The second one was just as bad. It's just a bad. It's a bad framework in how to have a political discussion. You should. People are more better off watching fucking Joe Rogan's podcast with Bernie Sanders. You'll learn more there than you would in fucking watching the goddamn debates. Anyways, it's been real.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great conversation. I'm glad to finally made it.
Awesome. We'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Later.